Hey class, Alec here. Today we're going to go on to the second lecture in regarding the demand curve. Remember we had 6 levels of analysis. We talked about demand as a concept, demand schedule, demand curve, law of demand, and market demand. But the sixth level of analysis, we're going to be looking at the demand curve in general functional form. You know I love my functional forms. Anyway, so let's get started here. Is that I've listed out basically when a functional form is just saying list out all the important variables. So what I do here is that I say this, that the demand for good one, let's start over here, equal F paren means depends on. And the first thing that I'm going to have in my list is the good zone price. It's the most important determinant of demand. How do we know that? Because it's on the vertical axis in our model. It's called an endogenous variable. Go back and we say, okay, now we have a negative sign. What does that sign mean? Okay, it simply means that that's the law of demand. If you have a change in P up, you'll have a change in QD down. If you have a change in P down, you have a change in QD up. People buy less at a higher price and more at a lower price. Law of demand. Okay, so let's just put here law. The second thing on here, and you know this because we talked willingness and ability, taste and preferences. You buy those things that you prefer in your pursuit of happiness or satisfaction or what economists call utility. There's going to be a positive relationship there if your tastes change. For example, if the Surgeon General says you need to eat your oatmeal and you will live 10 years longer, then tastes and preferences would increase for oatmeal and the demand curve would shift out to the right. The second one, or the third one now that we're going to look at, is the number of buyers. Remember we said that the market demand is the sum of all individual demands. So if a new demander comes into the market, it would shift the demand curve out and to the right. If people leave the market, it will shift the demand curve back into the left. Here's income and willingness and ability. Your income is a determinant of demand, but we have to understand the relationship now. They have situations where it's a normal good. What does that mean? It means that if your income goes up, the demand for good one will go up. If your income goes down, the demand for good one will go down. Okay, that's a normal good. Think Levi's, think restaurant food, think things that you would buy more of if you had more money. There's another situation that we have here is called an inferior good. This is think Top Ramen, think Totina's Pizza. These are goods and services where if your income goes up, oh man, come on. Sorry, sometimes the pen goes kind of screwy. Change in your income up, you're going to have a change in the demand for that good down. If your income goes up, you're not going to run to Costco and buy a case of Top Ramen, right? You're going to go out for Chinese food. So here, then we have a change in your income goes down, and then you're going to have the demand for good one going up. An inverse, let's circle that again, an inverse relationship for inferior goods. And then we have situations where our next variable and last variable here that we're going to look at is other markets. We're looking at the market for a good one, excuse me, right there, but is influenced by all kinds of market, right? And so when we look at these other markets, it's the prices of other goods. For example, when we look at substitutes are goods that replace. Think Coke and Pepsi. So now if we have a change in the price of a substitute up, if the price of Pepsi goes up, what happens? You're going to have a change trying to write it too small so it doesn't know what to do. A change in the demand for Coke goes up, a positive relationship. If the change in the price of Pepsi went down, you'd have a change in the demand for Coke going down. Positive relationship or substitute good. I'm going to try and squeeze this in here. Complements that are goods that are used together. Think peanut butter and jelly. If you have a change in the price of a complement up, you're going to have a change in the demand for its counterpart, used together, go down. If the price of peanut butter goes up, the demand for jelly goes down because the cost of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich go up. If you have a change in the price of a complement down, you'll have a change in rascally rabbit. Ooh. I know you guys probably like it when I screw up. Change in demand would go up. So now notice what we've done. We've listed out all the determinants of demand. But where do we get started? How do we get this down to 2 dimensions on my iPad or on a whiteboard? We use the magic term. We go general, functional, form, complete with our friend ceteris paribus. When we do that, this equation becomes this. The quantity demanded of good 1 is a function of its price, ... and other things too. Okay? Once you say ceteris paribus, everything to the right, okay, ceteris paribus, everything to the right is held constant via our friend Chris Paul or ceteris paribus. Does everybody understand? Now let's see if we do understand. Let's go back here, and I'll put this in red just to make it a little bit more distinguished or distinguishable. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I know you guys again love it when let's make a graph, 2 graphs. We have price on the vertical, quantity on the horizontal. Now the question is, what's the difference between a change in quantity demanded versus a change in demand? This is important for you to understand because this is how we do the modeling. Okay, a change in quantity demanded is a movement along a given demand curve. What does given mean? It means ceteris paribus is okay. So we simply have a demand curve that looks like this. We start out with an original price, P1, run it over, and then we say this would be Q1 at that price, P1. If the price goes up, what happens? You tell me. The law of demand says the quantity demanded would fall. If the price goes down, what happens? Law of demand says that the quantity will increase. Movement along a given demand curve. Nothing has changed in terms of ceteris paribus. A change in demand is, go back up to here, anything that changes out here will require you to draw a new demand curve. And I'm just going to look at an increase in demand. We start with D1 and we shift it out and to the right. I like to use the origin as your frame of reference. This is important. When we get to the supply curve, the demand curve has increased. This is a change in demand, an increase in demand. Another way to say this is more is demanded at each and every price. Why did this happen? The answer lies up here. It could be a change in tastes and preferences, right? So let's say a change in tastes went up. Change in buyers went up. Change in income, and it's a normal good, went up. A change in income, and it's an inferior good, went down. A change in the price of a substitute, remember it's a positive relationship, went up. And a change in the price of a complement went down. Everybody understand that? So now you can see that the demand curve has shifted farther away from the origin. Again, use the origin as your reference point. If you started at this price right here, this is how much people were going to buy before. This is how much people are going to buy after the demand curve has shifted. Any questions? Obviously, you can't ask questions, but I think that's it for now. We're going on the supply curve next. Talk to you later. Bye.